Well, good morning. Welcome into Market Day Report. I am Scott Shelby, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. A little chilly morning here in Nashville, but it's still going to be nice. It was a great weekend. A little chill in the air, good for cigars and red wine. Sunny and 45 to 50 degrees. That's fantastic stuff. But I know some of you across the country are suffering with a little bit worse than that. I know that's definitely the case, having been from Chicago myself. Why don't we take a look and see what these markets did overnight? That's what we're going to first do here so we can update you on the evening action. Why don't we see what corn's doing? Bring in the corn chart, and that was our corn table. These are brought to us by Bar Chart, by the way. Down 3 cents basically across the board. March was off 3 cents overnight. 650 was last. 650 and a half was last in the May, and that too was off 3 cents. Why don't we move over to see how the nighttime session treated beans, and they didn't treat them very well at all. Jan's down 6.5 cents. 14.73 and a half was last March. 7.75 cents. 14.76. How about Chicago wheat? Let's see what this one did overnight. 2.5 cents lower in the March, 7.51. May was down 2 cents, 7.59 last. Hard red wheat in Kansas City. Let's take a look at that. I suppose 4 cents lower across the board there. March off 4 cents to 8.40. May off 4 cents to 8.34. Everything was red, by the way, across the screen here when we came in this morning. Spring wheat in Minneapolis is down 1.5 cents in the March contract there. 9.08 last. Overnight, the overnight May traded to 901.5. That's 3.25 cents lower. And then finally, last I checked for the radio show, cotton was a little easier. No, it's up now, 28 points, or went up 28 points to 82.20. There you go. Let's bring in our guest analyst, Brian Hoops from Midwest Market Solution. Brian, thanks for being here with us on a chilly Monday morning. I suppose it's kind of nippy by you, right?
It was, pretty seasonal yesterday in the 40s, but boy, by this weekend, it's going to get cold where we're at and cold everywhere across the country.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, dangerously cold temperatures. So we do have a full trading week this week. It could be, very low as far as volume goes, but we close normal time on Friday and then observe Christmas a week from today. So that's kind of your schedule for the week. January grain options expire this Friday. We have a host of livestock reports later in the week. To start the week here off this morning, there was a couple private export sale announcements, a couple cargoes sold of soybeans to that unknown destination, and Mexico bought more U.S. corn. So that, is going to be a mildly supportive number, I think. Overnight, we were a little bit weaker as the forecast in Argentina did increase rain chances for some of the dry areas, and you saw soybean meal was the downside leader. Argentina is the world's largest exporter of meal, so if they do get some rain, we expect that Argentina would be exporting meal as, there's maybe half planted right now of soybeans, still have the other half to 60% of the crop to go in the ground. It would certainly benefit from some rainfall, but that remains to be seen if those long-range models can be trusted. But the market trying to take a little premium out here, but I worry by midday or even midweek if those rain models shift once again to talk less rain, that will be right back putting weather premium back into the marketplace. And
a lot of times we can go, do a whole hullabaloo about nothing. And again, we're going to say it 1,000 times today, I'm sure, but you're going to see, we could see some volatility, but with not a lot of volume, and that's also kind of dangerous. And to your point, the market can kind of overreact sometimes, maybe to the downside on just a little rain, or to the upside on none, or at least drying out a little bit. So you kind of have to be careful about getting sucked in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on a low volume week like this, we can exaggerate a move by double the move just because of the low volume. Trying to anticipate can really get you in trouble here.
Yeah, so I would say, what I like to say to the guys, or at least I used to all the time, is look, don't use it as a time to chase. Get your wish orders in there, to the sales to the upside, the buys to the downside, because then you can kind of step out on a strong note, right?
Right, exactly. So, if you're looking to be a buyer of soybeans, look for the breaks, 10, 15, 20 cents. Put your orders in there if you're wanting to cover meal for feed expenses. We're having a little bit of a break in prices, and, maybe you want to buy $20 a ton lower. Put your orders out there because you may get filled in this volatile time.
Yeah, that's, trade from a position of strength, not weakness. That's what I say. All right. Great stuff. Thanks. Stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Brian Hoops with Midwest Market Solutions after this. All right. Welcome back to Market Day Report. Let's dive right in and see. Well, let's remind ourselves how we closed in the meats on Friday. If we bring up Live cattle in Chicago, what does that look like? It did on Friday. It was higher. We had the Feb up 92 cents to 155.77. April was up 77 cents to 159.70. Let's see how feeders did on Friday. Friday was a little bit of a quiet market, but Jan up 72 cents to 183.77. March up just 2 cents, one tick, 184.70. That you can tell that was quiet, man. All right, and then lean hogs. This one was a big day. $4.12 higher in the Feb, 85.77. April up $3.55 to 92.72. Let's bring back in Brian Hoops from Midwest Market Solution. Brian, do you think we can continue that hog rally we had on Friday?
Well, I think it was all technically based. So if we can get some follow through buying, taking out Friday's highs, I think you can probably see a little bit more short covering. We were down very hard most of the week until Friday morning, and then we saw that short covering develop. A lot of reports for the week for cattle and hogs. Quarterly hog and pig report coming out Friday, 2 o'clock after the close. Thursday's cold storage report out after the close, and then Friday, a monthly cattle on feed report, 2 o'clock on the after the close as well. And that on feed report, I've seen some estimates out. We submitted ours to the news wires. We're looking for, I think, a friendly numbers here, and these numbers expected to tighten as we go through the winter into the spring and the second quarter, which is reason to be optimistic for prices, with the caveat that will we have the demand to sustain these price levels that we're seeing. But certainly going into this week, if we could be steady, I think in the cash markets, was Packers buy for holiday short and kill weeks, a steady cash trade, I think is going to be a victory for the bulls. We're
going to have a lot to talk about. I mean, we haven't solved any of last year's problems for sure. I hear you about these demand issues. And look, inflation, it can play games with our markets. And it looks as though that I think, well, this is my personal opinion, but it's not going to go away anytime soon. It'll come down a little bit, but we could have the Fed stop raising rates because things have deteriorated in our economy, which would then send that dollar lower, and we could see dollar inflation for out of the blue for no reason. And heck, we've got some drunken sailors in Washington wanting to spend $1.7 trillion on their way out too. So I mean, this is getting pretty dicey, and it's going to get very, very interesting. So I really appreciate you coming on, because we're going to need a lot of your input in the new year. That's Brian Hoops. He's with Midwest Market Solutions. Brian, thanks for being on with us on a busy Monday morning. I know it takes out of your time. We like having you on. Okay. That being said, we're now done, and I can bring it back to Nashville and throw this back over to Janet.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yeah. Happy Monday. Thank you, Scott.